concept in computer science. Now, we use vector differently, not that differently, but sort of differently in computer science and physics. Today we'll be discussing about how we use vector in computer science. So the main job of vectors in computer science is to store data, but not just store data systematically. So here order matters, but you won't understand what I mean by that until I show you with an example. So all you need to know is in computer science we store data with vectors, and it helps us store data, not only store data, but it helps us store data very systematically. So let's get started. We'll understand how computer science helps us store data with the help of some houses. Okay, let's start. So firstly, take a good look at these houses. We have house, the first house, the second house, and then the third house. Which house would you like to live in? Personally, I would like to live in the first house. So let's get started. What's the name of this house? What does it look like to you? It looks like a cottage, right? This is a cottage, so that's the name of this house. In case of the second house, it looks like a farmhouse. And in case of the third house, it looks like a very modern house, right? So we can call it modern house. Okay, so how much would this houses cost? I feel like I'm running a real estate class, but it's pretty fun, right? How much would this house cost? It's not that big. It's a cottage, so probably like $300,000. And then this house, how much would it cost? So it is a farmhouse, so some farm might come with it. So let's assume it's $500,000. How about this house? This looks a bit modern, so we need to like make it kind of expensive. So $600,000. Okay, so these are our prices. And what about the area? Our cottage is very small, so the area is like 3,000 square feet. This is just like me trying to prove an example on how to use vectors. So this is not actual data from these houses, okay? Let's say a farmhouse is typically bigger, right? So maybe a million feet square. Perhaps a lot, perhaps not, right? A million feet square. Now, in case of the modern house, it's kind of small, right? Smaller than the farmhouse. So let's see, 400,000 feet squares. Now, let's talk about vector form. Now, before, do you remember when I said that order matters while making vectors? Here you'll see why it matters. So if I want to make a vector of these three things, name, price, and area of this house, then this is how it would go. It would go cottage, and then I would write 300,000, and then 3,000. So this is the data of the house stored in vector form. Now, I cannot write it like this. I mean, at first I can write it in any order I want, but after I like set a precedent for how it should be, I cannot keep on changing it. Now, I need to follow one standard. If I write the name first, then the price, then the area on the second vector to store the same data, I need to write it like this: farmhouse, 500,000, and then 1 million. Boom, it's closed. Now, if this is the system we are following, right? This was kind of the precedent. So after that, if I write it like this: farmhouse, and then a million, and then 500,000, this would be wrong, because now I'm saying that the name of the house is the farmhouse, and it costs $1 million, and it has the area of 500,000 square feet, which is wrong, right? It costs $500,000 and its area is a million square. Sorry, its area is a million square feet. So that's how it works. So that's why order matters in vector. So quickly try to form a vector of the third house by stopping the video. Okay, so for the third house, the vector form would be modern house. How much is the price? 600,000. And then finally 400,000 square feet for the area, right? 400,000 square feet. So this is how it goes. This is how you would form vectors in case of computer science. In the next video, we'll talk about how vectors is used in physics.